Developing the whole mind through intuitional science. Human beings are complicated. I am one, and I can tell you from my own experience that this is true, and I'm sure that you feel the same way. It's so we have a number of personalities within us. I'm not saying you're schizophrenic, I hope you're not, but really we behave in different ways at different times, and we have different capabilities that we can sometimes tap into and sometimes not. Sometimes we feel that we're smart and we can have great insight and we actually do what we feel we ought to do, or we really deeply want to do, and other times we do stupid things and maybe regret them. So we're complicated, and the way I characterize this is I say we have these different kind of, well, they're not really archetypes, but they're like different levels of our personality. Sometimes we're basically a dog. We run by our instincts, and we run after food, and we run after sex, and we run after these, we're governed by fear, we're governed by instinct. But at the same time, we're fairly easily satisfied, and we have, dogs have a lot of great qualities, so we share those as well in our better moments. They're of course known for loyalty. What do they say? I wish I was the person my dog thinks I am. So this part of our personality, or this manifestation of ourselves has some great features and some that can be problematic if they're ungoverned. So we have within us a dog. We also have a computer. A computer is a great metaphor for the rational mind. Computers have great memories, and they are also very good at sorting information and putting it in order. They're like our rational mind, which can sometimes remember stuff and occasionally recall it, and at least mine, and reason. So reasoning and memory. So that's our internal computer. Then we have within us the potential to be a kind of a mad artist. So the artist is, of course, very imaginative, creative, thinks of things nobody ever thought of before, has these amazing inspirations, but is often typically unstable, addictive, maybe compulsive, and dysfunctional. So I think we all know creative individuals that are a bit like that. Perhaps, I know one that could have been like that if I hadn't been lucky enough to discover meditation. So we have within us, what do we have? We have a dog, we have a computer, we have a mad artist, potentially. We also have within us a wise, sage, scientist, philosopher. So this is the character that we, again, at times model, who really does behave with wisdom and maturity and deep insight, and with luck helps to instruct the mad artist on how to use all that brilliance and creativity in a good way. And then lastly, we have what I think of as the universal lover, the kind of the Saint Francis, who sees everybody as a reflection of themselves and is universally benevolent and guides us not just with wisdom but with tremendous compassion and benevolence. So we have all these qualities, and actually these 5 characters could symbolize the different layers of the mind described in the philosophy of yoga, which I call intuitional science. Well, it's not my term. This was the term that my spiritual master Anandamurti used for the Tantra yoga tradition that I practice and teach. So according to this model, the mind has 5 layers. And the first 2 are the conscious mind. It's kind of where the instincts tend to express themselves and we interact with the world. That's your dog, okay, your inner dog. The next level is your rational mind, your computer, where you have memory and reasoning. The next is your creative, but also maybe quirky personality level. Then we have this kind of the level of conscience and intuitive knowing and wisdom, and the last layer of universal love and awareness, where our awareness actually comes from, the sense of self, the knowing that we exist comes from that highest, most subtle level of our minds. Now, the beauty of the system of intuitional science is something called Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga means 8-limbed. 8 limbs like an octopus. And you can see these 8 limbs, they all have Sanskrit names, but they are also in English, and I'll tell you the English. I've referred to a couple of them already. This is really just to give you an overview of what, where a lot of the ideas I'm talking about is coming from. It's from this model and this tradition. So they are, you can say, the principle of doing no harm, doing no evil, then the principle of doing good to others, the yoga postures, which are really, really good for health and keeping the nervous system and the glandular system in tune. Then the what's called pranayama, it means breathing exercises, breath control, which is a part of meditation and yoga. Then pratyahara, which I referred to a couple of classes back, which is the idea of withdrawing the mind through a process of visualization and letting go of our clinging on to the world. Then there's what's called dharana, or concentration, and that again is something I talked about just in the last class, focusing your attention on a single idea or a particular point in the body or in a series. It really brings an inner stillness and gives us access to our inner wisdom. And then dhyana, which is a higher meditation practice that I'm not really talking about in this series. And the last is samadhi, which is a trance of absorption where the mind is merged into oneness. So that's actually the goal of yoga. So this system of 8 limbs of yoga actually plugs into these different levels of mind. So they're designed to go together, and each of the different yoga practices is designed to purify and perfect one of the layers of mind. That's why I'm able to say, to draw upon this pratyahara practice or this withdrawal practice and say, yeah, that connects to the kind of creative self, but also the quirky personality self, if you like. If we want to develop stillness and wisdom and deep intuitive insight and knowledge of that, or sort of direct knowing of that kind, then the dharana practice, this concentration practice, will help with that. So that's the framework that I've been working from, and where it has helped me to understand my own creative process. Over the years, I learned about this model many, many years ago when I first started practicing meditation, and when I had that experience that I told you about when I was playing this piece by Beethoven and I had this overwhelming ecstatic experience. I wondered what was happening to me. This model helped me to understand what was going on inside me, as partly because I'm me and partly as a result of my new meditation practice. Now, I said a little earlier that, I feel that I have the potential to be a kind of mad artist. If you know me personally, you might agree. So I feel that my meditation practice and the whole system of practices surrounding it, the yoga exercises and the lifestyle, have really helped me to balance out the potential to be, a disturbed artist. Because I know too many artists like that, and we've all heard of them. There are too many examples, many of them tragic. I know I had that potential. I really feel strongly that my lifelong practice has helped me to bring that into harmony and direct that creative energy to a higher kind of expression. And that has been through the system of practices. So, for example, if an artist does feel, or a creative person does feel that they're very emotional, or that they're prone to self-destructive habits, doing these techniques like dharana, dhyan, these concentration exercises, the yoga postures and the lifestyle really help to balance that. And that's why you find a classic example of somebody who discovered that is Russell Brand. He was a terrible addict, really dysfunctional personality, and he freely admits it, and not a nice person to other people as well as a result. He was into heavy drugs, alcohol, and a lot of really negative stuff. And he found his personal salvation, if you like, through meditation and yoga. And he's one of many others like him. He's another extreme case. That's luckily one with a pretty happy ending. So I'm a much more mild version of that, and I was lucky enough to discover this when I was very young. And now I find that I'm able to help other people who are maybe not severely dysfunctional, but who want to maintain a sort of a balance and to be happy as well as creative and productive. This system of intuitional science, this lifestyle and these practices help to make that possible for any individual who wants to function at a sort of peak level, but also wants to lead a happy and balanced and harmonious life.